All right. Welcome back to the podcast. This is the Boar Corner, and today we're going to be starting to talk a little bit about El Clásico. I don't know what you guys thought about El Clásico this week, but man, that was the most boring 3-2 final I've ever watched.
I think that the fact that it was so boring is definitely a factor in why Xabi Alonso was sacked because Real Madrid is supposed to be this team that goes at you that I don't care who you are, I'm going to attack at you, I'm going to play my style. Given they don't really have a signature style like Barcelona or Man City does. However, the fact that they caved in and they did something that you would see out of Getafe or out of a Espanyol where they sat back where they had five in the back and then four in front of them and then one forward really. I think the fact that Xabi Alonso caved in and did that and showed Barcelona not necessarily respect, almost fear as to what they're capable of. I think that was a telling sign in where his coaching mentality was that day.
But it's so
Um,
crazy to see the amount of fear that they played in. I mean, they really fully put themselves in full defense, barely wanted to go offense. And if it wasn't for Vinicius Jr. pulling off some magic, I mean, quite literally some magic out there on the flank, and he did that with his three or four chances that he had. And yes, they did miss a lot. I mean, they still had the better chances in that first half until that last 6 minutes of the game. Real Madrid were choked up two good opportunities beforehand, but they played
yeah.
such a defensive, fear set mindset that it was kind of really. It didn't feel like a Clásico. It didn't even feel like a Real Madrid. Like you just said, Real Madrid historically is a team that goes at you. You bow down to
Yep.
them. You cave in into their pressure.
Well, and so you've seen Madrid do this before when Jose Mourinho was there, where they were very counterattack heavy. However, this didn't even feel like that. This felt like as long as you can't get near my box, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I think that mentality is something I haven't seen out of Madrid in a couple of years. I think the last time they played like that was maybe under Rafa Benitez, but I mean, for a Barcelona fan like myself, it was amazing to watch to show that hey, they're scared of us. We've just won 9 games in a row. That was our 10th, and we won our 11th in a row this past Tuesday or Wednesday, sorry. But no, it was an amazing game for us. I couldn't have asked for a better result. I will say, um, had it been another goalkeeper in our box, we probably would have conceded about two or three more. If that had been a Chesney last year or even a Ter Stegen, I think we would have lost that game. Just because Joan Garcia on a 1v1, he is an amazing goalkeeper. Um, Honestly, I don't see how you don't start him for Spain in the World Cup. I think that the game against Atleti Bilbao showed that because the number one for Spain just conceded 5 goals against his Barcelona team, and you have Juan Garcia, who's game in and game out putting on amazing performances. I think he has to be the starter, if not the number two.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely an impressive showing. But I think one of the takeaways that you can do, even from El Clásico, is one, you look at Real Madrid, the change of coach going from Ancelotti to Xabi. But then I noticed how young the lineups have been. I mean, even for a Real Madrid team to have relatively unknown, talented, yes, but inexperienced in finals, inexperienced in their age and even competitiveness, all of their age was gone. I mean, they don't have Tony Cruz, they don't have Luka Modric, they don't have Benzema. They had Vinicius Jr. and Valverde, who essentially were their two eldest players, and everybody else was 18 to 23. They had six players.
No, I think the youngest player on their team was Gonzalo Garcia, their forward, and he was only there because Mbappe's injured. But they
He
still
wasn't
had
the youngest. I mean,
they had
Hussein is 19. You had
I thought Hussein was 23.
no.
Let's see. But this what was
Even
really
Mastantuono, you have all of the relatively young players, even with an average of 23 or
Dean
22.
is 20. But I still find it funny that Arbeloa came out his first conference as a Real Madrid coach. He came out and said that the Castilla is one of the best in the world, if not the best. And I couldn't name you a player that came out of Fabrica in recent years that was just like, you know what, he's gonna win the Ballon d'Or or he's one of the best players in the world. I can't name you one. And given I'm a Barcelona fan, but I still try to keep up with other teams. I show the respect that they deserve. But I can't name you one player out of the Fabrica that just caught my eye that said, you know what, he's going to be one of the best in the world. If in 10 years time he doesn't win a Ballon d'Or, then that's a huge failure. So I thought his comments were hilarious.
I mean, he has to
He's
go
off
out
to a good
shooting.
start.
Sorry.
Below, he's off to a great start.
Oh, amazing, amazing. Played against a 17th place team in the second division with their B team and got beat 3-2.
But again, they played all their young players. It seems like that is the going thing for all these big teams and all these big coaches is and this is one of the things that I see from all the coaches that have been, or the majority. You think of Amorim, you think of Maresca, you think now of Xabi, you think of all these coaches. They're kind of stuck with $50 million players that are 18 to 22, with management going, well, you got to start field them. And there's
But
a lack of trust in the players and still a
you
forced
say
obligation.
that Madrid played their youth. They did. They had their, I think it was their right back. I don't know his name. He was a youth. He was a youth academy player. But then they also had Camavinga on the field. They had Courtois on goal. They had Vinny starting. They had Valverde on the field. They had Chouameni. It's not like they played their B team. They still had some of their starters on the field. They had two or three youth players, yes, but then they still brought on Mbappe. They brought on some of their starters to try to come back in the game, and they still lost it. And Arbeloa, I read somewhere that he wants the identity of Real Madrid to be gegenpressing under his play style. However, you saw that Xabi Alonso try to implement his tactics, and how far did that get him? It's not going to happen.
I saw that they're looking at trying to get Klopp to go there.
He would never go there. As a matter of fact, he came out in an interview and he said, you know what? If Real Madrid just sacked Xabi Alonso, who proved 2 years in Bayer Leverkusen how great of a coach he is, they still sacked him. There's something wrong with that club. So I don't think Klopp will ever go there. I think Klopp would be better off going to Barcelona than he would Real Madrid. That fits better their style, because if you look at Flick, who plays a similar style to Klopp, and he's been hugely successful there, I don't think Klopp going to Madrid makes sense.
I hope he doesn't.
The only thing that makes sense of going back to Real Madrid is Zinedine Zidane. You know that one's going to go back. He's always the one that's going back after they have a mid-season sacking. Zizou comes in, wins a little bit, goes on his hiatus, stays there watching everything burn for a bit, happy as he can be, making a ton of money doing it.
We're the big Ten Hag. Just do it.
Ten Hag.
Legend, Man United legend right there.
So I'm curious to what happened with Ten Hag, because he took an Ajax team who their oldest player was, I think, was Tadic, or I don't recall his name, but he was a left winger. He was the oldest player on the field. He was maybe 30 years old, but he took a super young Ajax team who had the leaked as their captain at 19 to a semifinal. Arguably should have made that final if it wasn't for Lucas Moura scoring that hat trick. And then he goes to Man United, you expect all these things, but he kind of really fell asleep at the wheel over there. I don't know if it was a failure of his tactics or if it was just not having the right players that he wanted. But yeah, Ten Hag, I feel like he was a failure all over at Man United.
But everyone that's been the Man United has been a failure, though. It's the club's the failure.
Well, I mean, it feels almost like the Man United itself was held by only one man, and that was Ferguson. He had control of the team. He had control of the players. His tactics were on point, and everybody was holding on to him. And the moment he left, the house of cards just dropped, because they haven't found the right player combinations. They haven't found the right coach that can manage it. They haven't been able to find the right system. And they just sit there with splashing as much money as they possibly can, trying to plug up holes that they find anywhere and everywhere. It has to be a management issue.
Yeah, they're all over the place with their identity. There's just no clear plan and structure in place, and they're just a mess in terms of even the type of players they have.
But that's not even a coaching problem. Then it's a management problem.
But it's going to take them. It's going to take them a minimum 5 years to get their train back on the rails, because each coach has came in that's been there through a transfer season and said, "Hey, I don't want these players. I want these players." So they bring in players to fit their style. And then the next coach, when they're inevitably sacked, is stuck with the previous coach's players. So Ten Hag he played a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 pretty frequently. So then Ruben Amorim is now trying to play a 3-5-2 with players that don't identify with that system. And that's going to continue to happen until they finally say, you know what? We're going to get a mediocre coach and we're going to stick him in here, and he's going to tell us for the next 5 years what players he wants, what players he doesn't want. And then if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then well, sorry, we're just going to fail for the next decade or so.
But isn't that what every coach went to Manchester United and initially did? They looked at the lineup and said, you know what, I need to get, like, everybody's on the market. And then a few months later, one player, maybe two players is on the market and gets sold. Harry Maguire still sits the bench and captains the team. And it feels like not a whole lot changes that first few seasons when they're like, oh yeah, we're going to completely, blank carpet rewash this team. So it's kind of like the coaches. Yeah.
Maguire is the best example of it, because you look at him and go, okay, you got, let's say Ten Hag comes in and wants to play a pressing game in a higher line. Same with Ruben Amorim, you want to play a higher back line. But Maguire's not that type of player. He's more of a Jose Mourinho type centre-back that likes to sit deep and defend the box like an old school John Terry. So like, you've got these wrong types of players for what these coaches are coming in trying to play the modern way or whatever you want to call it, right? So you don't have the types of players to be able to play these ways. And then the whole squad's just in flux because they don't have, there's just such a disbalance in there. You can see it. I think we talked about it over beers many a time with the guy that came in on a temporary basis right before Ten Hag. Who was it? What was his name again?
Ragnick.
Yeah, Ralph Ragnick. He said like the club needs open heart surgery. Like they just do. I feel like somebody's Real Madrid might be starting to enter that type of period too, but they'll just buy their way out of it at some point.
They will, but when Mbappe announced he was going to go to Madrid, Laporta came out and said, I'm not jealous of him going to Madrid. If anything, he's going to ruin them because of his characteristics, of his personality. He's going to clash with the entire dressing room. And look what happened. They went from a team that just won the Champions League with Ancelotti with no real identified striker besides Jose Lu, who was 34 years old, that played in the second division for so many years, to Mbappe, who's supposed to be a star player, star striker, best player in the world. And now they can't even beat Arsenal in the Champions League. So I think Real Madrid's going to have to get rid of either Vini, Mbappe, or both of them to get out of this mess.
I mean, either that or to bring in actual captains. And I think that this is, I think, a topic that we were going to jump on to, but a lot of the problems that are faced, and this is something that I've seen in soccer and what coaches face as a problem, is new and young talent gets bought into a team while captains and respectable players sit there benched or not even being brought in. They get sold before they can actually make an impact on their team. You look at, even older teams, older players, coaches had reliable captains, reliable players that were sitting there making sure that the team operated the way they do. You look at a Barcelona, a Madrid, an Arsenal, a Chelsea, Manchester City, they're getting rid of all of their flagship or their supposed flagships, and they're stuck just with new players coming in with a whole bunch of hype, a whole bunch of talent, and really no cares for the jersey that they put on. And when they do make it to the big teams, like Mbappe going to Madrid, he doesn't care about Madrid and Madrid culture. He's there to pick up a paycheck and go, well, I made it to the biggest Galactico team. What of it? Like, not even showing respect to the opposition teams, even if you're angry. Like, that used to not happen. You showed respect to the opposition team and walked away, and you were a bigger team. You were going to do it.
World's a different place these days, dude. It's a different place just in general. And even with just the management issue, I mean, this is the way managers are now. They don't have the authority that they did 20 years ago,
But which managers do have authority now? I mean,
Klopp did, I would say. Ancelotti kind of did, but he was more of a good man manager anyway. But yeah, the few and far between, right?
I think to a certain extent, Flick does as well. I think if he says something, it's not just, hey, let's do this, guys. It's no, hey, we're gonna do this. He's really set his foot down.
You got to stop this love affair with Flick. He's okay.
I mean, what about Xavi though? Did Xavi not have the same impact, or was he just stuck with whatever management gave him?
He wanted to. However, the player's mentality when he showed up was two lags a daisical. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Um, so whenever who was the coach before him? Ronald Koeman was there. He didn't really set rules in place. When Xavi showed up, he said, "For every minute you're late to training, that's a fine. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, every meal we're all going to eat together. Does not matter if it's an off day. You're still going to show up to the stadium, eat food together." And then there were certain other rules he set in place. He tried to, but some of the players just told him, "Hey, you know what? We have been doing this for years. We're not going to start doing it now with you." So I think that's what the issue was.
So he didn't even have control of the locker room, which is kind of crazy for a legendary player like Xavi to come in and not even have the respect of his own locker room. And I think Madrid had that problem with Xavi as well. Xavi came in going, well, people are going to respect me for what it is that I was. And then he has these hyped up players that are not going to do.
I just don't think it's a long enough body of work to be able to judge him by. How long was he there? 6 months?
6 months, but he was at Bayer. He was at Bayer Leverkusen for 2 years. The first year he won undefeated in the league, won it. The second year he got second place. I don't know if it was a down year. He knew he was leaving, so his heart wasn't really in the job. But he still did a great year. His second year, he still challenging for the title in a sense that Bayern ran away with it, but he still put up a fight for as long as he could. I believe he made the quarterfinals of the Champions, if not the round of 16. So he didn't do a terrible job. It's just the Real Madrid job. It's not as simple as any other club.
Didn't you say it though when he decided to go and coach? You'd mentioned something about he was a bad match already for Madrid even before he got.
He is because he expects a certain tactical adaptability from the players. If you look at Bayer, they played a 5-3-2, and it was really a 3-5-2 because the wingbacks would push up, and then they inverted a little bit with Frimpong and Grimaldo. But Real Madrid doesn't have that. They play four at the back, and none of their players are going to press in the same way that Bayer Leverkusen did. So that's the issue there.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't really give it long enough, but I mean that's the nature of the current day, the modern game is there's just no patience. And I mean, look at being a Liverpool fan, look how long it took Klopp to really ascend with Liverpool. I mean, it took him 2 or 3 years to really get to that point where we were like pushing Man City, and Liverpool gave him the time. Like Real Madrid just don't give people the time.
No, and who was it? I think it was yesterday. There was the Milan versus Como, and Allegri before the game, he was talking about Cesc Fabregas, saying that Como can walk into a game, and him and as a coach, he doesn't have to win. He can play however freely he wants. The expectation isn't for him to win. But when you go to a certain club, the expectation is that you win at all costs. So you can't take risks, you can't take chances, you can't just play in a free style. And that's kind of Madrid. And for them, if the moment you don't give a result, and the fact that Carlo Ancelotti got sacked, but is it both 2 times, and he still gave him the Champions League. He still gave him La Liga. And the expectations are not even high. It's if you're not always winning, you're out, and there's no trust in the coach. And I think that management does not trust their own coaches that they bring in. How many coaches or how many teams do we see that recycle coaches, recycle, don't trust their vision? And it's kind of like, why did you bring this coach in? Did you do your homework, or you just brought in a big name and then didn't trust anything he was going to say?
It's madness right now. It just is at this point, and no one's given time. But in fairness, like fans are impatient too. I mean, we've sat around and we've had our moments where we've been impatient with people. Like, I mean, look at Slot. Slot won the league with Liverpool last year, and people are talking about him getting fired. And I'm not quite there, but I'm not a million miles away. But more so, rather than the results, it's more so just we're boring to watch at times. It's more the style for me. It's more stylistically, but people are results when the results aren't great. People are very quick to want to pull the trigger. So I don't know. And then it's going to be who's next? Who's next? Like if they don't bring Zidane back to Madrid, I mean, who is next? Klopp says no. Well, like who are they going to get?
Probably some tier 2 team or some third tier, second tier coach that kind of did something and push him into it. I don't know. Unless they want to splash a ton of money on Conte, see if maybe they can pull him away. But I mean, coaches are limited. It's not like players that you just have this big big open pool. You pick a coach because there's kind of limited good coaches out there, and you're supposed to stick. I mean, teams used to stick with their coach for 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
The only the only team
Back
I
in the
see
ball.
the only team I see that actually has held on, and I even thought that he should have been sacked, but the management actually did hold on to him, was Michael Arteta. I mean, even after 3 years of transfer seasons, and he was still not really doing a lot. It took him only the last 2 seasons before everybody's like, "Oh, wait, Arsenal is actually a pretty decent team right now under Mike's guidance."
I mean,
Uh,
they've spent more than Man City in the last years. So the fact that he's competing for a title right now, if he wasn't, then he should have been sacked a long time ago.
You
well,
just call do you call him Michael Arteta?
Yeah, it's Mikel.
Michael.
Mickle,
It's
Michael
Mikel.
Arteta.
Mike Arteta.
Um,
Whatever. You know who
but
you know who Real Madrid should go for? Honestly, this is going to be a shot out into the dark, but they should go for Cesc Fabregas.
no, he'd
For
never
who?
go there.
I think that's going to be the kind of coach that they want to go for. Full offensive, high pressing, counter attack, always about just go, 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 go. I
He's
actually did enjoy watching Como versus Milan because Como was all over AC Milan. And they've been doing it with, they splash more money than most teams to be able to get the players that they do have. But man, they put fear in the teams they face and they have no care. Like they are trained, they are offensive, they can do a lot. And I think Cesc has done a tremendous job with Como. And I think those are the coaches that they got to go for.
Cesc is Barcelona through and through. He came through our youth academy. He went to Arsenal, and he came back. I don't think he'd ever go to Real Madrid. It
Once you're a
wouldn't
head
make
coach, it
sense to
doesn't
him.
matter. Once you're a coach, it doesn't matter. I don't
There's
know a
still
single
some
coach that
loyalty.
said that.
There's still some loyalty there.
I feel like once a player becomes a coach, it kind of like, oh well, yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see what Omar's saying about maybe with the fact that he's been through the whole Barcelona academy and everything all the way up. I can see it being that degree of loyalty, but you never know. I mean, at the end of the day, some of them are they just want a job and they want to prove themselves. And Real Madrid's arguably the biggest club in the world. So
and this would never work. Luis Enrique is looking at leaving PSG at the end of the season. He played through both Barcelona and Madrid, so I could see that potentially working, but I don't think his style fits Madrid because he's also the same style as Klopp. He's a very high intensity coach, not gegen pressing, but he likes to choke the opposition. That's why he off a kickoff he has his teams kick the ball deep into the opponent's half, so that then they can push up and keep the high line, sort of like what Flick does. But he likes to compress the team, keep the play within 50 or 40 yards. And I don't think that the team that Madrid currently have is not the type to fight for every ball, to constantly be running, making sprints back and forth. They're more of when we get the ball, we'll sprint, but until then, I'll let the defense do their job, and I'll stay up here and hope for a counter attack.
By the way, do you know where Luis Enrique learned that tactic of just kick the ball up and then press?
Roma.
There's this really great coach that told me one day, when he was coaching the female team, that's exactly what he did to be able to hold possession. Chris, isn't that what you make your girls do? Just boot the ball up and chase it down, force them into a mistake.
Well, yeah, it's the revolutionary, right? It's the way to do it, dude.
Yeah, Luis Enrique just saw that and he was like, I'm gonna take that tactic. I'm gonna feed it in.
Exactly. We were setting up the tactics for the future professional teams to take a hold of. That's what we do. We set records in North Dakota. Or in Colorado now. Or Colorado.
Oh, good.
Anyways, who's Milan looking at transferring now? Have they looked at any new faces or what?
Yeah, I mean, the new face. We're talking about bringing in a young striker, a very talented Lewandowski. To add some youth because we have a little bit of an aging striker problem. So that's one option that they started pulling through. They also aimed to try and go for Thiago Silva at the age of 41. That was going to be a nice young catch.
Well, he still wouldn't be the oldest player on the team. I think Modric still has a beat.
Yeah. No, Milan is all over the place, and with Max Allegri, again, it's one of the coaches. Wrong system for the wrong kind of players. He's mixing and rolling a 4-3-3, and he's trying to turn that into a 3-5-2 with no striker, no big body that's going to hold it. Actually, the one buy that they did go is Dusan Vlahovic, which I've been saying that Milan needs to go for, but they're not even putting a full offer. They're getting him at the end of the season, essentially on a Bosman. But honestly, he's the kind of big striker that even if he only gives you 15 goals, he doesn't seem like the most technical. He's still the big body. It's going to sit there, collect the ball, move into the box, and allow your wide players to make the movements on the inside. That's what Milan doesn't have. We have Rafa Leao, Nkunku, who's finally getting some penalty kicks. So yeah, he's getting goals, and Christian Pulisic. None of those are a 9 for a 3-5-2. None of them can hold the ball, take it out in the air when you have to loft it. And we want to sit there and play back. And you look at Milan against Como, we sat there, we played the ball to our center back. Como presses us, and our defense panics. It's like, oh, well, we want to play from the back, but we get panicked when somebody comes and presses us. You don't have the right center backs then if they're getting panicked because you get pressed on a deep playing center back team. And I would, if I was Milan, I would actually pin money, try and get Theo Hernandez back or Federico Chiesa. Federico Chiesa on the left, even if you're playing as a wing back, I think would tear it up. He may not be the best player, but he has physicality, he has drive, he has love for the game. Put him on the left wing back. He's going to give you offensive options and defensive runs. Instead, we have Bartesaghi, who's 19, coming out of the academy. Not bad, but inexperienced. And Estupinian, that I don't know what he's doing. He's learning how to make pizzas or something because it's not being a fullback. Wasted money on that one. So Milan needs to go for an all-and-out striker. I don't mind Dusan Vlahovic, but we needed a striker now. That's it. And then
I think y'all need to call Zlatan out of retirement at this point.
Geez, I mean, we're almost at the point of every retired player. Let's bring in Di Maria. Let's bring in like any player that we can that we think is still going to run. Let's go and give him a contract. But that's the Allegri problem. That's a huge Allegri problem. He relies on average but running players like Rabiot, the crazy horse. All he does is he runs, he knows his position, but he's not going to add market value to the team. He's going to keep the team exactly where it is, maybe push for a few more, but there's no development of any other player. Even our midfield, we have Jashari that we paid 35 million for. We have Ricci that we paid 25 million for. They sit the bench, come out in the last 5 minutes because we're playing Ruben Loftus-Cheek, we're playing freaking Fofana, who decided to dive for a ball and then completely missed it. He put his entire body under the ball, like to say, I'm not going to get hit by it. And we have 41-year-old Luka Modric, who's playing great, but come on, like use the players you bought, build some market value. But that's not Allegri. He doesn't want to take those chances. Boring game.
When did Ruben Loftus-Cheek go to Milan? I thought he was at Roma.
I thought he was retired.
My goodness.
I mean, he should be retired at this point.
He might as well be. I mean, just to show the Serie A is the retirement home of the football world.
That's funny, but it's sad. It's sad because at this point, Serie A does not have any more respectable players like they used to. Like not even it's impossible to believe that Serie A right now does not have even one absolute world-class center back.
Well, it's bad when the best player in Serie A is Scott McTominay. I mean, that's the state of the league right there.
Listen, McFratama is at least doing something.
I would say Acerbi is world class. He's a pretty good center back.
Yeah, at 38, he's a decent center back. I mean,
no. Sorry. Not Acerbi. Bastoni.
Okay, but I'll give Bastoni. He's a good center back, but that's about
as far as it
goes. That's about as far as it goes.
I was really hoping we'd pick him up, but it didn't happen.
And then we sent Califiori out to Arsenal. We sent what's the 18-year-old kid that went to Liverpool and then tore his ACL?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
I think it's long, but those are players that might have a hype. But the fact that Italy does not have marketable center backs or marketable goalkeepers is baffling because we used to have, that's what came out of Italy, and we don't even have that.
Y'all have who's the guy at Man City? I can't say his name. The goalkeeper.
Donnarumma.
Ah, yeah.
Donnarumma.
Yeah, he was smart to
Oh,
get out of Milan when he did.
man, that guy was a complete cancer to the team. That guy was a complete cancer.
He was the best player on your team for a good part of 10 years. I
Yeah,
would
and
probably
he
show him
held
some
he held
respect.
the team to ransom the whole time. He would wait for his contract to go. He would go, "I'm all for Milan, all for Milan. Now give me 15 million." At
Oh,
the
we
end, he
know.
would wait, and then you would
You
go, "No,
you
no,
can
I want to sign. I'm gonna sign. I'm gonna sign. Give me 15 million."
yeah, you
No,
complained about that every week.
the guy is complainable. Look at him. He just wants to sit there and just go, "Yeah, guys, you guys should definitely pay me more than Keylor Navas, even though I'm 18 and can't kick the ball." I mean, have you seen? Do you remember that day that we turned on the TV only to watch him pass the ball to the opposition striker and then get scored on?
That was awesome.
That's the kind of player that's sitting there asking for 12 mil. Are you kidding me? And you do that right at
Oh,
the end of your
did
contract?
you just, by the way, did you make up a word complainable? Is that even a word?
It is now. We should definitely turn it into a word. I'm gonna cheers
And
to
English
complainable.
is not my first language, but I don't think that that is a word for me.
I'm I'm pretty sure complainable is definitely a word, but we don't have any English majors to tell us any differently.
Although you have players asking for what 15 million a year, all the while we have players cutting their salary in half just to come sit our bench like you always Cancelo. Amazing, amazing transfer this year. I think we need that so badly right now.
I don't
Um,
think he's really even gonna. He's really not gonna do much. I think.
I
I think his
I
mentality and physicality is gone.
he has the issue of if I'm not playing, I'm not happy. And some players need to understand that you're not going to play every single minute, every single game. Um, so that was his issue with Pep. That's why he came on loan with us the first time. Is that Pep was starting to play who's that center back Ake at left back because he wanted to start the game at a 4-3-3 and then shift into a back three, and then Ake would give him that stability on the left hand side since he's left footed. So then João Cancelo, who can play both left and right back, said, "Well, I'm not needed here. If you know I'm not needed, I want to go somewhere where I can play." And Barcelona, who plays similar style football to what he likes to play, came calling, and he did amazing for us. They always tell you not to fall in love with loan players, but I think I can speak on behalf of all Barcelona players. We did, and ever since he left us, we had been hoping and praying that one day he could come back, and now he's back. And hopefully, this season is that's the difference maker in squad depth that we need to make a later run in the Champions League, other than just the semifinal. Because in the semifinal last year, we were missing both Kunde and we were missing Balde. So if we can have João Cancelo on the bench for supplemental reserves that we need, I think that that'd be a huge benefit for us.
I mean, if you're happy about Cancelo, go for it. I think he's way mentally. I think he's. It's the thing with players that for some reason, if they can't get that resurgence mentally, they stop playing, and you can just never get him back to what it was that they
Well, I'll
initially
say
did.
this: he defensively, he's not the greatest. He will be exposed some games, and mistakes will happen. But thankfully, now we have a competent goalkeeper in between our posts that can save us from in those occasions. But on another topic, we have a youth player, Dro Fernandez. He just paid his release clause himself today of $6 million to be free to go sign for another club, which I'm shocked at because he's 18 years old. He's not going to start every game. He's not nearly as amazing as Yamal, but he still had some talent to him. So it came to a huge shock to us that he did that, and I'm going to be very interested to see which club he goes to now.
Oh, you should go to AC Milan. We definitely need it. Speaking of AC Milan, I still have no idea why on earth did Milan not try and get Endrick on loan. Pull the same thing that we did with Brahim Diaz. True, he's got a mental head case issue, but listen, you're going to get somebody who is talented, and as long as you have somebody with depth that can at least unlock defenses, that has a desire to go and go, why would you not go for a loan offer for 2 years and try and bring him in? Instead, he goes to Marseille. He's sitting there for the bench. By the time he was 17 in Madrid, everybody going, he should start, he should start, he should start. Why not bring him in?
I think
He's
there's all
there.
sorts of I think there's all sorts of interesting things going on right now, even with the transfer market in England with Gahey and the fact that he's going to Man City for 20 million.
20,
And Liverpool
20.
didn't go for it. Liverpool were paying what 10, 20 million more than that this summer, and then it got pulled, and we didn't go back in for him. and now he's going for 20 million to Man City. And we're
He's going for 20
crying.
million. Guy, I call him Guy, I guess, from
Yeah.
Crystal Palace.
Well,
And we're dying for another centre back right now.
I think Crystal Palace was afraid of him leaving for free, so they said, "Let's pull the trigger and out. Let's get something for him. It's better than him leaving for free." But Liverpool should have came in with at least a $21 million offer just to undercut Man City, but they didn't, and that was their mistake. Now you have to face Van Dijk and go out there for the rest of the season.
With Man City constantly bringing in the world class, and that has to be. I don't understand why Pep Guardiola does it to himself, or why management lets Pep do it to himself. But the guy always wants to bring in players to give him a selection headache every day. I think he scratches himself because he's just going crazy thinking of the options that he potentially could create, the strategies and the players that are going to fit every position, and the fact that none of his players ever know if they are the starter or not. Which player in Manchester City right now is an undisputed starter? Other than, I guess, Gigi Donnarumma. Holland, maybe. But none of not Andres, not Silva, not Foden, not Tijani Reinders, not Rodri. Like, none of your center backs ever seem like they're consistently always playing.
Yeah, it's an embarrassment of luxuries. Not a bad life being Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, it's a terrible issue to have. I will say that.
Man, it just sounds like a headache I didn't even want for myself. But man, they start bringing in all these players, and that is crazy.
Yeah, you would be devastated if AC Milan were in that situation.
I mean, we were in that situation back in 2002 and 2004. I totally still cry for the days that we could have still been at that level.
Yeah, I was crying at that time, not because AC Milan was good, but just because of the fact I was 4 years old and I couldn't play with my dinosaur anymore.
Well, you're still crying at that level, so you're good. All right, gentlemen. Well, it was great having a beer, great having a chat. We will meet up next week to discuss some more football topics. All right. Cheers, everybody. Bye.
Yeah.